And we are in the process of consolidating our nationhood as a country within the community of nations. But what happened in the Senate last night was, as historic as it was, it had serious flaws. And clearly, I think Kenyans should expect a protracted legal argument, because we didn't even discuss this with the Honorable GACHAGUA, but we are aware that his teams have already moved to court. It's expected.
Yes, the impeachment motion of Rigathi Gachagua, it is a clear sign of a new political formation in the offing, because we all know that the UDA is no longer at ease after breaking one of the legs it stands on. In every video I talk about the UDA, I keep on saying that UDA stands on two legs, the Rift Valley and the Central Kenya, not even Western. Western got two big positions, that is the Prime Cabinet Secretary and Speaker of Parliament, but they never voted for UDA. In fact, they voted for Baba Raila Amolo Odinga. The impeachment motion has united more people, and there is a sign that there is a new alliance in the offing. Among the people who have come out to support Gachagua, and I think is also building himself to either deputies Gachagua, is Kalonzo Musyoka. Kalonzo Musyoka has done a great job. In fact, he's elevating himself to be the running mate of Gachagua if Gachagua gets a success in the courts. Okay, because if indeed he never wanted Gachagua to be his boss in 2027, wouldn't have come out to support him. He would run a lone race. A person who normally knows his strength doesn't need someone. He will be traversing around the country to show his might. But Kalonzo Musyoka, the way he's selling himself to be the deputy of Rigathi Gachagua come 2027. So in this episode, I've come to talk about why Kalonzo Musyoka is coming out to support Gachagua, what sign it shows, but most importantly, the study materials we can learn from the politics of our nation. But before I do this, I want to know that if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. If geopolitics and economics is what you want, this will be definitely the right channel for you to subscribe to. After news came out that Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua was going to be impeached, one of the few political players who were sympathetic was Kalonzo Musyoka. Remember, Kalonzo Musyoka was not happy after the ODM was appointed in government and without proper consensus with Raila Amolo Odinga. We all know that one of the mistakes Raila Amolo Odinga does, I don't know if it is a mistake on his side, whenever he goes into government, he goes alone. He doesn't let his brothers in the struggle. No. Remember when he had a handshake, even Mudavadi and Wetangula knew from the newspapers. Later they joined him. Okay? The same, when ODM members were being put in government, Kalonzo Musyoka came out running like a headless chicken. He never knew. But Raila Amolo Odinga played his cards well. Okay? Raila Amolo Odinga is always in government and he leaves the people he runs with behind. It's the reason as why in the 2022 general election, Musalia Mudavadi and Wetangula decided to work with Ruto after working with Raila Amolo Odinga and after he leaves them. So and by the way, they made a good decision. That's why they are holding the position they are holding. So even Kalonzo Musyoka is trying to project himself as a person who would want to work with Rigathi Gachagua. Okay? And he's building this using Eugene Wamalwa and others. Before I proceed, let me first play with the tape when Kalonzo Musyoka was supporting Gachagua. Here's the tape.
But we want to thank the senators. We want to thank the legal teams. As has been said, it is historic. And it's all because of Constitution 2010, which is why we are saying he is a second deputy president. Even as we speak, he's still deputy president. So I was the 10th vice president. Eugene Wamala's elder brother was what version? The eighth.
So do you know Kalonzo
so these things are
coming out to say that I was the 10th deputy president, Eugene Wamala, his brother is the 10th. In that way, for us to understand communication, he's trying to say that, look, these people were behind me. I'm the front runner because I was the 10th vice president. Even Eugene, who is a senior to other people like Dan Manzo, his brother was the one who was president. For him, he was a CS. So among those people who are with Kalonzo, he's trying to project himself as the most senior who's supposed to be picked by GACHAGUA. And for me, I think GACHAGUA, when he's making a calculation, Kalonzo Musyoka wouldn't have been bad. But if GACHAGUA has a chance to pick someone from the Western, like Wetangula, if Wetangula can accept to deputize GACHAGUA, that ticket would be very dangerous. He would win in first round. But even Kalonzo Musyoka's option is not bad. But there will be a lot of calculations. Let's continue.
Are important. It's part of our history. It's part of our heritage as a people. And we are in the process of consolidating our nationhood as a country within the community of nations. But what happened in the Senate last night was, as historic as it was, it had serious flaws. And clearly, I think Kenyans should expect a protracted legal argument, because we didn't even discuss this with the Honorable GACHAGUA, but we are aware that his teams have already moved to court. It's expected. And as senior counsel, I can tell you that you cannot, the law of natural justice demands that no person, man or woman, shall be condemned unheard. And it was all there.
So that is Kalonzo. He came out to say that he knows that his lawyers have gone to court, but they didn't come out to speak this with him. Okay, so Kalonzo is trying to attach himself to GACHAGUA to an extent of making a decision on whether to go to court or not. And I think the strategy of GACHAGUA, what strategy he should use first, when he comes out of the hospital, he should move across the country as himself to first build a conscience of himself, not to attach with someone to get self-importance, so that when times comes to pick a running mate, no one comes out to say, I did this, I did this, I did this. No, he should first come out, run, like the way Ruto did. He first built himself. By the time came to pick a running mate, he had the audacity to pick. So in this way, Kalonzo Musyoka is trying to build himself, and it's not bad for a politician. He's trying to build himself, to endear himself to GACHAGUA, to an extent that he's sending a signal that we should work together to speak about something forward as politicians. That's why he's coming out to say that they haven't talked about going to court, but he knows his lawyers are in court. Let's continue.
Senior Counsel Paul Mwite, leading a very strong team, were able to argue with regard to what the Constitution at Article 145, 5B says. Before the vote, before the Senate took the vote, they could only do so after affording an opportunity to Deputy President to defend himself. There were arguments, of course, by Senior Counsel Jim Orengo and Tienda Molo on the other side, and Gumbe. Yeah, so we respect all of that. But truth be told, this whole thing smacks of injustice, gross injustice, political manipulation, and all of us know this is a political trial. And therefore, once again, we want to thank the senators who stood firm on both sides. We can't condemn even those who voted.
So that is Kalonzo Musyoka, and his decisions, according to him, it is very good. Kalonzo Musyoka knows how to position himself. That's the fact. And one of the qualities of a good politician is to know how to position yourself. So for me, I look at Kalonzo Musyoka's support in two things. One, he wants to endear himself to GACHAGUA to be picked as running mate. Because we all know Kalonzo cannot make a significant step to the presidency because of very many things. One, the money. Two, even the votes, because this region doesn't have a lot of votes. And we all know politics in Kenya is among communities. People would say that blah, blah, blah tribes. Why? Politics in Kenya is made based on your tribal community. So Kalonzo Musyoka is strong deputizing someone. That's why he has always deputized Raila. So he's trying to endear himself to GACHAGUA so that he can deputize GACHAGUA. Okay? And Kalonzo Musyoka is a very good option because the Gema community originally had Gikuyus, Embu, Meru, and Akamba. But for a very long time, the Akambas have been annihilated. That's why the Gema community calls the Akambas their cousins. So it will be a great ticket, although they will have a lot of calculations. Okay? The good thing with being with a Kikuyu candidate is if they was able to give 47% of the vote to William Ruto, that means you come in an election with 47%. You will be able to get other votes from across the country. It's the reason why William Ruto was able to win the presidency with only winning highly in Rift Valley and Central Kenya. In fact, Kenya was painted blue, not even yellow. But he was able to win. Do you know why? Because the Gema community has a lot of votes. So Kalonzo Musyoka is a genius, endearing himself to GACHAGUA so that he can be picked. But also GACHAGUA first he should elevate himself not to be blackmailed by these people that they should be picked among them. He should pick a person who can bring a lot of votes. If there is a chance, if he can pick someone from Western, from Bukusu particularly, someone like Wetangula, tides would change. In fact, if you give me a chance, although Eugene Wamala is not a good fighter, but Eugene Wamala would make a good deputy because he comes from the Western. And remember, Western is the second most populous. The bad thing is Eugene Wamala is not a fighter. Kalonzo is a fighter. So Kalonzo will have a bigger chance. Of course, that's my opinion. Do drop me your comments by commenting about this. Thank you very much for listening in. If this is your first time on this YouTube channel, I implore you to subscribe, like, and comment so that I can be motivated to do more of such videos. I'll see you on another one. Peace.